Yeah, 2009, I did have my competitive season, but actually, I would say 4 to 5 weeks prior to the competitive season in 2009, I started getting some symptoms, and it was kind of hard to know if these symptoms were just related to being in a severe caloric deficit, low body fat percentage, fatigue, or if I was actually sick. So I did do the show, but a year later, I was still dealing with a lot of these strange symptoms. So it wasn't until about, I would say, a year and a half after my bodybuilding show, after going through dozens of doctors, getting diagnosed with, some of these weird syndromes like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. I got diagnosed with sleep apnea that I just did my own research and went to the right doctor, and I found out that I had Lyme disease. So that's kind of like where everything got started after the show. And for a couple of years, I was out of the gym for a little bit, just trying to get healthy. But that's kind of the road I was at for about 3 years after my bodybuilding show in 2009. I noticed that a couple weeks out from the show, like I said, I was having these severe symptoms like muscle tightness, but like severe muscle tightness, and then severe brain fog, and all these different things. But I couldn't really put my finger on it because, like I said, going to these different doctors and going to a special doctor actually in Cincinnati. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, that I had Lyme disease. I got bit by a tick. My whole life, I've been working outside manual labor, and I was around landscaping and the such. So I was around dirt, and yeah, I got bit by a tick, and that's kind of how it all started.
So you were, I want to say, was it, if that was 2009, mid
Mhm.
20s?
Yeah, yeah, I was about mid 20s. I mean, so 23 is when I got like diagnosed, and then 23 through 26, I was on a series of antibiotics. I was like, honestly, I was like bedridden pretty much for about a year. I couldn't even get out of bed. It was horrible. And then it wasn't until about 5 years later, 5 years from about now, that I got healthy and serious and got back into lifting again. And that's kind of like where I'm at the road now. I'd say about 2.5, 3 years ago, I was kind of at the point where I was where I was in 2009. And then ever since then, I've been trying to make progress. And I think I'm actually going into my full potential as 2019, even though I'd say my physique was pretty well developed. I would say I was probably about 50 or 60% of what I could have been. But, that's just kind of things that happened back then. And now I'm just focused on what I can do now. So,
That must have not only influenced the gains, like you lost obviously a lot of muscle. I could imagine having not trained for about a year. Is that correct? Like you didn't do anything.
it was longer than that, Kenny. It was like two and a
Mm,
half 3 years. It was pretty
wow.
bad. I mean, to be honest though, I wasn't super worried because my body type is I can put on muscle pretty quick.
Hmm.
So I got the muscle back fairly fast. But the only thing I was worried about was with Lyme disease. It's like, how is making progress going to be? And fortunately, it's been pretty good. The last 3 years, I've been pushing really hard with my training and my diet, and I'm very happy of what's happening. So yeah, everything's going great, and my health is good, and life is good, and I'm just very fortunate.
Oh man, that's really great to hear, first off. And with respects to having to, like, how do you manage that now? Like, do you have to take medications? Like, how does it work with Lyme disease specifically? Because I'm not obviously 100% aware as you are. So,
Yeah, there's like certain medications you can take. I believe that some of like the SNRIs out there that are related to fibromyalgia, like I don't know if you've ever seen those commercials, but like they prescribe that, and I try not to get on a lot of medication. That's just my thing. But I am on two medications right now that help me with a little bit of pain. But besides that, I think big priority to my health would be getting enough sleep. Like when I was 21, I probably just need about 7 hours. I'd be fine. Now it's about 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. Also, eating the right foods, even in the off season. I try to eat whole foods. I don't try to eat processed foods. And also, I would say doing a little bit of more, I don't know if you want to call it stretching or mobility before and after training. I think that helps. So those are just kind of the things I did that just got me down to the right track. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was just staying consistent with it.
and the pain, Because you mentioned you take some medications for pain. Is it from a muscular standpoint that the Lyme disease is affecting you?
Yeah, so I barely have any, like I have zero joint pain, and I know that's kind of maybe crazy to think of because
The way you
I do.
train is crazy, bro.
Yeah,
That's why.
like, I do like all the compound lifts. I lift pretty heavy. I lift pretty intense, and I knock on wood. I haven't had like any serious injuries. I haven't had a pec tear. I haven't had anything. The only issue I have is I get a little bit of quad tendonitis here and there. Like it's not even on the knee or below it. It's weird. It's like on top of the knee, like on top of the tendon going into the knee, which is uncommon. But besides that, I don't have really any issues. And yeah, so the pain is more muscular than anything.
Mm.
I don't know if you can describe it like it's like a trigger point pain that you get sometimes. Like it's like deep into the muscle, not really at the joint, but if the trigger points or the point of origin kind of starts getting flared up, it can cause immobility of the joints. And that's kind of like why I do just a little bit of light foam rolling. I try to keep my stress very low to a minimum. And I do some light stretching here and there. So
Mm.
that does help. And also, I'd say the most important thing is staying active, moving around. Inactivity, I think, is the worst thing for symptoms like that. So
Is it like more like in specific areas of the body that you get some of those symptoms, or is it always like in this one spot in your shoulder, or is it kind of moving around because it's more systemic?
yeah, it's like everywhere, Kenny. I mean, it's like calves, hamstrings, quads, hips,
Oh, okay.
glutes, shoulders, chest. But as long as I keep my stress low, I keep up my sleep, my food, my habits. I can train hard. I do cycles of overload workouts one week and then blood volume workouts the next week. The blood volume kind of helps my systemic fatigue from my central nervous system, and I still get good workouts through there. So as long as I keep up with that, everything's been going good, and it's just been years of trial and error to where I've got to today. So